UFOs, unidentified flying objects. They've been sighted all over the world by tens of thousands of people, caught on film and tape from Mexico City to Phoenix, Arizona. There are credible eyewitnesses, military officers, police officers, all echoing the same refrain. Something is out there, and we want to know what it is. But despite high-tech analysis and sightings going back to the dawn of recorded history, there is no answer to the UFO mystery. Or is there? What does the government know that they're not telling us? A little discussed article, Sightings Found in the CIA's in-house journal, has opened a window on a previously covert world. The CIA's 1997 winter edition of Studies in Intelligence details long-denied U.S. protocols concerning UFOs, including revelations about systematic cover-up, disinformation, intimidation, and deceit by both the Air Force and the CIA.
It's only been in the last 40 years that ufologists have begun to organize and mobilize. The strides that have been made are impressive, and with organization comes respect. Now that ufology is seen as less of a fringe science, it's attracting more and more defectors from the stranglehold of government secrecy. What's still top secret in America isn't anymore in Spain and Belgium. Those countries have broken rank to open up secret UFO reports for public inspection. But not all of Europe is so forthcoming. This is what happened to British ufologist Matt Williams when he tried to get a few questions answered at one particular military base in Great Britain.
So you don't want to comment about stories that RAF Rudloe Manor investigated UFOs? That's a no, then, I take it. When I've been to Rudloe Manor, we've been stopped sometimes. The MOD police are not happy about people being there. They have a policy of playing down the fact that the base is A, operational, and B, has an underground facility.
From the outside, Rudloe Manor is an innocent-looking collection of buildings in the middle of the quiet English countryside.
It's an underground facility for the most part, and it's involved with signals, communications, investigations, and RAF police, who have in the past investigated the subject of UFOs. It's very secret.
Royal Air Force Rudloe Manor was indeed the coordination point for official UFO investigations from 1977 until 1992, and this was confirmed to me by no less than the officer commanding Royal Air Force Rudloe Manor, despite denials for decades.
But why all the mystery? What secrets could be hidden underground at this military base?
There have been UFO sightings, and nearby RAF bases have actually diverted and scrambled aircraft to intercept UFOs. We don't know what these objects were because the files didn't tell us, but certainly that Rudloe Manor, being in the center of this area, has had its own UFO activity.
Is it merely a coincidence that one of Great Britain's most secure bases is located in the heart of so much UFO activity? Ufologists and paranormal investigators say no.
The area where Rudloe Manor is based is actually on a ley line, and there are some unusual things connected with the area where Rudloe Manor is. It's got a tunnel which goes to Boscombe Down, apparently, which is an 80-mile tunnel cross-country, and that tunnel comes out near Stonehenge.
And researchers suggest perhaps the same force that caused ancient people to erect strange monuments here is the same force that is now drawing extraterrestrial visitors.
I do believe that there is an extraterrestrial presence.
Nick Pope didn't believe in UFOs when he first joined the Ministry of Defense in 1985. But by the time he was transferred to another position within the government, he was no longer a skeptic.
3 years of official research and investigations at the Ministry of Defense gave me access to a huge database of case files from the past, and also, of course, to the sightings that came in during my tour of duty. These are not lights in the sky. These are solid craft getting through our radar systems, sometimes operating very low over military bases.
John King is the editor of the British publication UFO Reality.
For someone who is completely convinced by the military explanation that all UFO reports can be either put down to fantasy, natural phenomena, or a sighting of some or other military experimental aircraft, I would just remind them of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reports over recent years of a massive black triangular aircraft that is reportedly the size of a football pitch.
On one occasion, Belgian Air Force fighters intercepted these triangular UFOs, and one of them jumped, I think, the space of 2,000 meters in less than a second. So quite clearly, we were dealing with very advanced technology here. In Belgium, there were about 2,000 reports between 1989 and 1990. Increasingly, here in England, we've been getting reports of the so-called flying triangles.
According to researchers, many of these sightings have been made in a 300-square-mile area called the Salisbury Plain. And Salisbury Plain is also where you will find RAF Rudloe Manor and some of the world's most famous sacred sites like Stonehenge and the unexplained mounds and stone circles of Avebury.
Behind me now is a good portion of Salisbury Plain, which is pretty much the home of the British Army's training land. There have been a number of sightings across Salisbury Plain. Yeah, a number of sightings, a number of reports.
In 1994, British UFO researcher Reg Presley spotted a mysterious ball of light hovering over Salisbury Plain. He shot several minutes of remarkable videotape before an unmarked helicopter buzzed his location and then hung ominously nearby. It was clearly an attempt at intimidation, and in most cases, it works.
I received a letter from Mark, who's an ex-British soldier. One night during the winter of 1989-1990, he'd been out on night maneuvers on Salisbury Plain.
So basically, all it was about 3.5-4K march.
Mark, a former British soldier who was stationed near the Salisbury Plain, has asked that his identity be hidden and his voice disguised. He still fears reprisals from the British Defense Ministry.
So Mark would have been hiking across this open piece of land, and as he approached this copse here, this wooded area here,
We got to near the place where we were going to get picked up, and it was just off to our left.
and then suddenly this massive craft appearing as if out of nowhere.
And it was vast, great big, like triangular craft, and a very strong strobe light beaming down as if it was looking around for something.
And the next thing Mark can remember is a guy dressed all in black flying suits coming out of the copse, approaching the 6 soldiers, including Mark, holding this rod or prodding thing.
Felt like a sheep getting penned in with this like cone of light around us, like almost a buzzing feel about it to your body.
As he called it, bluish cone of light that eventually engulfed all 6 soldiers and kind of took over their minds.
Very frightening experience. It's like you've got no control over it. Something's controlling you. You have no control over it at all.
As the soldiers sort of woke up from this nightmare experience, they found themselves 600 meters off course over in this direction, wondering where they were and how on earth they'd got there.
I still had this missing time, you know, which was making me pretty agitated. The feelings that go through my head is I was a guinea pig. I'm really angry about it.
As more and more witnesses step forward, the hope is that more and more countries will come clean about what they know. Because, insider Nick Pope says, UFOs are still of grave concern to the governments of the world.
I know for a fact, of course, that the British government is actively investigating UFOs because that was my job for them for 3 years.
The attitude of governments worldwide does indeed vary widely. In my opinion, that is because the majority of governments worldwide don't have access to the full facts. I'm convinced that the United States government knows more about this subject than any other, and therefore they have more reason for covering up information.
As more and more documents become declassified, as more and more people arm themselves with information and video cameras, officials can no longer blame every major UFO sighting on comets or clouds or crash test dummies. Does this mean that the government will finally begin telling us everything it knows about UFOs?